As far as the Belgorod region is concerned, the insurgent forces are increasing the intensity of their attacks, and today the commander of the Russian Volunteer Corps reported that they have completed the clearance of Tovoltanka. The head of the Belgorod region confirmed that Russian forces lost control over the settlement, and that the situation does not look promising for Russians at the moment. As fighting continues, combat footage showed how insurgents destroyed at least 4 new tanks and armored fighting vehicles. Combat footage also confirmed that the insurgents took new Russian soldiers captive. Faced with the reluctance of the head of the Belgorod region to organize a prisoner exchange, the head of the Wagner Group, Prigozhin, made an announcement in which he claimed that if Russian officers did not care about his people, he would take care of it himself. The commander of the insurgent detachment recognized a unique opportunity to drive another wedge between Prigozhin and the Russian Defense Ministry and made the announcement that, from now on, they will cooperate with Prigozhin. As for Bakhmut's direction, the Ukrainians continue to advance. Today the Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister has reported that the Ukrainians have carried out a series of successful assaults on the northern flank of Bakhmut. The head of the Wagner Group, Prigozhin, used the occasion to criticize the regular Russian army for letting the Ukrainians into Berkivka. Some sources indicate that other attacks were directed towards Dubovo-Vasilivka, Paraskovyivka and Zalizniansky, but at the moment there are no geolocated images to confirm the advances. The situation on Bakhmut's southern flank is even more favorable for Ukrainians. As expected, the Ukrainians quickly began to use their gains to carry out a pincer move on Klishchiivka. A commander of a detachment on the ground reported that the Russians in Klishchiivka are about to abandon their positions because the Ukrainians destroyed their logistics in the region, and there is no hope of support. Ukrainian soldiers issued a warning to Russian soldiers to abandon their positions as soon as possible, or they would be killed by artillery fire. Seeing no movement, the Ukrainians opened intense fire. The intercepted radio exchanges revealed extreme panic and despair. After demonstrating what awaited them, the Ukrainians stopped the fire and issued another warning to leave Klishchiivka because they were under operational siege. But today's biggest news comes again from the south. Russian sources claimed that today their forces carried out a counterattack and drove the Ukrainians out of Neskachna. Later, Russian sources reported that the Ukrainians somehow stormed the next settlement on the line, Storozhiv, and reused several companies of motorized riflemen. Russian sources claimed that the attack was repelled and that Ukrainians were expelled from these 2 settlements. Ukrainian sources reported that they captured Storozhiv. It seems that the Russians saw the Ukrainians withdraw their heavy equipment from the contact line after the assault and considered the Ukrainians to withdraw due to their heavy artillery fire. However, as some analysts pointed out, the Ukrainians most likely left light infantry in the trenches to hold the area while prudently saving the equipment from artillery fire. And such a decision is not surprising, especially considering how small and vulnerable to artillery fire these settlements are and the intensity with which the Russians used incendiary munitions tonight.